Thank you for staying with us. We're discussing the incoming 10th National Assembly as more senators have joined the race for Senate presidency, with the former senior special assistant on diaspora affairs to former governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State, Mr. Femi Odere. All right, about 12 former governors of both the APC and PDP have won their senatorial elections for the 10th Assembly. And of course, I'm going to be asking you now, do you think first-time lawmakers should be allowed to contest for principal positions, including the Senate President or House of Reps Speaker?
No, I don't think so. And it will be quite unfortunate because I read somewhere, but a couple of days ago, that the Senate might be considering changing its rules again. I hope they don't, because if they do, that's actually going to be sending a very wrong signal. That they themselves are not even consistent, that they themselves don't even know what they want. Why would you change rules all over the place? Since that rule has been made, it should stay that way.
What if the rules had not worked over time?
You mean the rule of being a ranking member? There's no way it wouldn't have worked, because let's face it, the job of a Senate president, even though we can pretty much say that it's first among equal, like a class captain kind of a thing, but you need wisdom, you need competence, you need experience, you need sort of positive rapport, for a lack of a better word, among your colleagues across the political parties to be able to manage them. So if the rule is changed and a rookie becomes the Senate president, for the first 2 years, he wouldn't know exactly what he wants to do anyway, and time is of the essence. So I wouldn't even advocate that, and it shouldn't even be a consideration to begin with, because as I said earlier, the stakes are very high. So the party cannot, and even the country itself cannot afford to have a rookie in any of the leadership positions, either in the National Assembly or even in the executive for that matter.
Well, so for the purpose of this discussion, let me ask you this. What is the difference between, presiding over the House of Assembly as against presiding over the Senate or the House of Representatives? What difference does it make?
Well, there are two chambers. We have the red chamber, which is the Senate, and then we have the green chamber, which is the House of Representatives. And even though they are mutually exclusive, if you will, but then they deal with legislation too that at the end of the day will have to become one by the accent of the chief executive, and that is the president. So they have their own track, that is the Senate, and the House of Representatives also have their own track. So in the House of Representatives, of course, you have the Speaker of the House as well. And then if you want us to get into that, we can get into that. So it does make a difference because the two chambers have to produce their own leadership, both the presiding officers and then the principal officers as well, for the Senate and then for the House of Representatives.
Okay, so what I mean is someone who has been Speaker of the House of Assembly, I'm asking this question because you talked about a rookie. Yeah. Now, someone who has been Speaker House of Assembly, for instance.
House of Representatives.
All right. Yeah. Now, wins an election into the House of Reps. What stops him or her
from somebody who has been in the House of Assembly in his state. Okay.
Yeah, so what stops the person from becoming a Speaker?
Well, first of all, the rule. The rule, in every organization there are rules, and then you have to obey the rule. Not until that rule is changed, you cannot just assume the speakership of the House of Representatives just because you happen to have been the Speaker of the House of Assembly in your state. And mind you, it is just your state that you are the Speaker of the House of Assembly, and we are talking about 36 states here. It's a different ball game entirely. Right. So the fact that you are a Speaker of the House of Assembly in your state doesn't necessarily give you the requisite experience. Of course, it might give you a sort of a little bit of experience in terms of the nitty-gritty of legislation, but you have a bigger house now.
Right.
So that's what the difference makes.
So in the incoming Senate, APC won 60 seats, PDP 32. Is this enough for the APC to take control of the upper chamber?
No, it's not. Like I said, the APC will have to make a deal with some political parties. Which political parties is going to make a deal with is really up to the leadership. I just suggested that if I am to be in the position to make a deal for APC, I will look in the direction of the NNPP to make a deal with, rather than the LP or the PDP, because the MPP, the president candidate, Rabiu Kwankwanso, to me is sort of a liberally minded politician that can play ball. So that would be my first consideration in terms of making a deal.
All right. No, we've spent enough time talking about the Senate. Now let's move to the House of Reps. How will you describe the race for the House of Reps speakership? And of course, we have the likes of Wase, Gadi, Dogoa, who are leading the race for Reps speakership. What can you say about these individuals?
Well, I really can't say much about them because I have not really had any one-on-one interaction with any one of them. But as an observer of political development, and as a watcher of politics, I would say that as far as who gets to be the Speaker of the House of Representatives, they should simply let it go to Idris Wase, the current Deputy Speaker. And you see, I'm sure you've heard of the refrain that Nigeria is very complex and all of that. And to me, Nigeria is still not really complex. Nigeria feels complex, it tastes complex, simply because we tend not to always want to do the right thing. When politicians, when leaders do the right thing, things are going to fall into place. So, in my own view, as far as the Speaker of the House of Representatives is concerned, it should simply go to Idris Wase. And why? Why? Because Idris Wase actually was one of the major candidates in 2019 that stepped down for our current Speaker, Gbadabiamila. So fairness should be reciprocal here. Like I said, although we can say that it was not written, but if you already made a deal, if you made a deal with somebody, and the reason for you to have made a deal is because if you haven't made that deal with that person, you wouldn't have gotten to where you got into.
A deal has been made with him?
Oh yeah, a deal was made with him. That was the reason why he stepped down. Anyway, so for him, unless he's saying that he's not interested, but since we all know now that he has put his own heart in the ring, that means he's interested, and he has gathered enough experience anyway as the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. I think it should just be considered to him so that we can just avoid all this rancor, all this heating of the polity, all these people saying that Nigeria is so complex. It's not complex. It is when people refuse to do the right thing that we begin to experience this so-called complexity. Nigeria is not complex, but the ability to do the right thing is, to me, what I need to start preaching to. Because once you do the right thing, even if you are the aggrieved, people are not stupid. You will know that the right thing has been done. And you just say, you know what, it was fair enough because the right thing was done. But if you now went overboard and gave it to somebody who never participated in, let's say, for instance, in 2019, and then people will be saying that, then what's the essence? What's the essence? So when things like this begin to go on, then it hits all the polity. It doesn't allow things to move forward. It doesn't have the country to progress, because we are just basically robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. And that must actually stop. That must change, hopefully, in this incoming administration.
All right, so let's get back to one of your points, one of the points you made earlier. Now, President Buhari did not, initially show interest in the National Assembly leadership. Just like you also mentioned. Now, do you think the President-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should take such a stance too?
Of course. And as I said, his coming this early may not be unconnected with trying to stabilize the National Assembly in terms of letting people know where he stands, letting people know where the party should be. And the earlier that is done, I think the better. Because, like I said, he knows exactly what he wants to do. He knows the reason why Nigerians gave him the mandate that they gave him, and he knows what politics is supposed to produce, and he knows exactly how to achieve that. So it will be, in fact, it's even counterintuitive to even begin to say that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not going to be interested in who becomes either the Senate President or the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
All right. So, many Nigerians see the outgoing senator leaders as mere rubber stamp. Do you see the 10th National Assembly towing this line?
You see, in an ideal representative democracy, the National Assembly should necessarily play what I call adversarial role. Even if their party is in government, they should put the executive on his toe by asking questions, by wanting to do the right thing, and all of that. Ideally, that is what representative democracy is supposed to be, adversarial kind of cooperation. I don't know, that might be an oxymoron. There's nothing like adversarial cooperation, but let's just use that phrase as an adversarial cooperation. But then, the other side of it is that rather than see the present National Assembly as a rubber stamp, I think the onus is on them too to assist the executives to pass legislation, to actually fast forward and pass its agendas and all of that. But the reason why I believe Nigerian tends to think that the present National Assembly is rubber stamp is that there is really no debate of any sort. There is no robust intellectual debate among members as to how things should be done. I mean, even if you are at the end of the day still going to sign on with what the president wants you to sign on to, that you still have to kind of put it on the ground, scatter it, and then put it back again, and take some things that you don't think is necessary and all of that. But again, it is, to me, a reflection of the quality of the politicians that we have, rather than anything.
All right. Because you've said the spread of seats among political parties at the National Assembly is good for our democracy. Mm-hmm. And now with more political parties like Labour Party, NNPP, ADC, and others represented in the National Assembly, what do you think Nigerians should expect from the 10th National Assembly?
Well, Nigerians should expect robust legislation. And as I said, the stakes are very high. I'll keep repeating that. And it is only when you have robust legislation, and the president-elect too is going to demand from them robust legislation, because he has so many things that he wants to do. He has so many policies that he wants to implement, and most of these things cannot be done by executive order. It has to go through the National Assembly. And because of the intellectual disposition, if you will, of this incoming administration, because of the quality of people that are necessarily going to work with PAFAN, it is going to be a situation where this National Assembly will have to be on its toe to making sure that that quality, robust legislation and laws are passed in order for the country to move forward.
So another very interesting angle to this discussion is lawmakers elect from opposition parties have vowed to truncate the APC agenda since they have the majority in the House of Reps if they come together. Do you see this planned coup succeeding?
No, I don't. For one reason, that the president-elect that we are talking about actually has enormous goodwill across parties. There are some politicians, even in the opposition, if you want to mention PDP, if you want to mention Labour Party, that the president has played significant role in their ascendance. They just happen to have gone to Labour Party or to PDP and all of that. So fundamentally, because of the Midas touch of the president-elect, because of his political will, and because of the fact that he has made men out of them, even though they are now in a different political party. I don't see them actually, because they have to remember their own soul. They have to remember the back. They have to remember what this man did for them at one point in time. So I don't see it being any rancorous. But there's some people may want to razzle-dazzle, grandstand, and all of that. Just
because I was about to ask if politicians are really to be trusted.
Oh well, yes. Yeah, well, you can say that they are not related, but there are some that still has conscience.
All right. So, because of time, Mr. Odere, now it's just about a month and some days to the inauguration of a new Nigerian president. What are your expectations, and what key areas should be of primary concern to the president-elect to turn around Nigeria's fortunes? In 30 seconds, if you would.
That's actually a very tall order. Considering the fact that things have gone down unexpectedly the way we didn't expect it to have gone down. But I would say that the issue of insecurity should by the 100 days, Nigerians should have seen a direction as to how the security is going to be nipped in the bud. If not, by that time, security should have been very much decimated, if you will. And then the economy. The economy is it's in tatters right now. We can actually begin to pretend about it. So that also would be a major concern of the president-elect, and job creation as well, because we have restive youths, and we are seeing the experiences now. The NSAS people, and even the political election. We are the electionary campaign that we just went through. So employment, economy, and insecurity, I would say, will be the priority of the president-elect, as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you very much, Mr. Femi Odere. It's been an interesting conversation with you tonight. I've been speaking with the former Senior Special Assistant on Diaspora Affairs to former Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State, as we take a look at the incoming 10th National Assembly as more senators join the race for Senate presidency. Thank you very much once again, sir.
Thanks for having me too, okay. Appreciate it.
And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Join us tomorrow for another edition of Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Goodbye.